Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Roxy here in New York City. Tonight, blessing the band stage is a dynamic guitar virtuoso who hails from the country of Italy by the name of Pasquale Grasso. Now, Pasquale has a very unique guitar style in which he fuses his classical training and fuses it with his own new language to the fold. In fact, he won the 2015 West Montgomery Jazz Guitar Competition, and he's played with a host of stalwarts over the last decade here in the United States. He has a series of digital recordings in which he pays tributes to some of the great stalwarts of jazz, and I'm including the great Charlie Parker as well as Bud Powell. Tonight, you're going to witness highlights of him playing with his trio, as well as we're going to sit down and talk about his upbringing, his classical upbringing, as well as how the classical training has helped influence him become a great jazz guitar virtuoso. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Mr. Pasquale Grasso and his trio, live here on the Pace Report, here at the Roxy. Pasquale, thank you for letting me come out. Congratulations on this new digital series that you are paying homage to the great jazz masters.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming by, and those recordings are produced by Sony Masterwork and Matt Pearson. That it was his idea to have EPs, so small EPs of 5 songs, and each of those have a different theme. For example, the last one was dedicated to Charlie Parker, and the one before that was a tribute to Bud Powell, and there is another one coming up soon that is a tribute to Duke Ellington, and of course it's just a solo guitar. And actually I started playing solo guitar at this place,
Django.
the Django. Yeah, I used to play here every Wednesday, and that's where I start trying to play, solo guitar and try to just play, the songs I like and what makes me feel good, and paying tribute to all the people that my idols there, Birds and Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Christian, Bud Powell, and any of those, any from the 20s to the 60s and to nowadays,
And it's very appropriate because we're just celebrating the 100th birthday of Charlie Yard Parker.
Yes, yeah. So that's why they and we did I think it came out maybe the day before Charlie Parker's birthday, but yeah, that was the idea, and it was great. And it's great to have album, some of those EPs and albums that are dedicated to my idols, because that's what I wanted to do, and maybe in the future I'll record something that would be my music, and it would be nice.
Pasquale, you have had a very interesting ride here in America. Everybody knows you overseas. You hail from Italy. But tell me about you and your technique. Your technique, you come from a classical background, and you're classically trained.
Yes, actually I started with jazz, but at some point I had to go to college, and I didn't want to go to college for jazz because I was taking a lesson with the great Barry Harris, and he always talked about classical guitar. So actually I went to see a concert of David Russell, that is one of my favorite classical guitar player, and he was in Bologna, and I was shocked, and I said, that's exactly what I want to study. So I went to school for classical guitar in Bologna, and I studied with a great teacher. His name is Walter Zanetti, and that's where I got my technique, and I guess that's where I realized that the guitar is the way that jazz play guitar is not really the way I wanted to play it, because actually the guitar, and since I'm Italian, it's one of the most popular instruments in Italy. So by studying classical guitar, I realized that the guitar is a different instrument than just an electric guitar and just playing single note or chords. And by playing with the finger and finger style, you'll be able to play the melody and the chords together, and you can have different sound, and it's a little orchestra. It depends where you play on the guitar. You can play the same phrase in one position and it sounds like a trumpet, but you can play in another position and it sounds like a cello, or it sounds like a saxophone or a tenor saxophone. And so that's the beauty of the guitar, because it's still an harmonic instrument, but you can sound like a little orchestra.
Pasquale, I was going to ask you about technique, which you just broke down. Is there things that you took from classical that you kind of flipped it and kind of made your own language when you started playing jazz guitar?
Well, like I said, I started with jazz, and then when I was 19, I went to college. But yeah, it helped me a lot, all the classical technique and the way that the classical guitarists see the way that the hands moves and the coordination of the hand, and which note to slur, which note to play staccato. Helped me a lot to understand what I wanted to do in jazz, because music is not the technique. If you have a piano player, a saxophone player, they can study the classical piano, classical saxophone to get their technique better. But for guitar player, it's such a different instrument that nobody really plays classical guitar, you know. So, but I did, and I'm glad I did, because I learned so much from the actual instrument and technical stuff that I didn't know before, you know. Most of jazz guitar players, they play with 3 finger. And when my teacher saw I played a piece for him, and he's like, we have to work on your hands, and we have to work on the technique, because your hands are a mess. That's when I was 19. And then he was very patient with me, and he helped me a lot to understand the way guitar works. And I'm glad I did that, because I wouldn't have the technique that I have now. Not that there's anything in particular good about my technique, but I'm happy I just studied classical guitar, yeah. And I still do. I still play a few songs. I don't play classical guitar every day, but I still remember all the technical exercise and all some of the pieces that I can play, Bach or Fernando Sor and Giuliani. I still play it just for me, not for anybody.
In Italy, how were you exposed to jazz music? How did music, the idiom of American roots music by way of jazz, come to your psyche?
Well, my parents, they're a big jazz fan. My dad, when when he was in his 18 or 16, he came to Canada and America, and he brought to Italy a lot of LPs, and most of them were jazz and pop music. Of course, he loved James Taylor, and he had the LP of Charlie Parker, one of Billie Holiday, another one of George Benson. So the music was always in the house. And my brother is a great saxophone player. He actually started, he's 2 years older than me, and he started to play alto when he was 6. So I was 4, and I wanted to play something. And my dad is like, okay, let's go to the music store and see what you like. And I saw the guitar, and I fell in love. And I said, that's what I want to play. So me and my brother grew up playing together every day, and learning songs and playing together. It was our game. You know, some people, they go and play basketball. We were playing saxophone and guitar. You know, that was our days. We loved doing that. That is pretty weird to think about for 5 years old, you know, but we loved it, and we create, and we still play together. He lives in Germany now, but we get together and we play together, and he's my idol, you know. My brother is who taught me everything about music, you know, so it's great. I'm just sad that we don't get to see each other too much, you know. He comes to New York, and we play at Smalls, we play at Mesro, a few gigs. So next time he comes, I'll let you know, so he can come see him. Yeah.
You know, dealing with this pandemic, this thing going on right now, I've noticed you've been out in the community playing. You're playing here, you play Ruby. I've seen you play at a couple places. How has this taken your musicianship in stride, and with the fact that you're not playing as frequently as you normally are and traveling, have you rededicated your time to just shedding and just playing and practicing?
Yeah, the most of the time, yes. But after a while, I started missing playing with people, especially by April. The first couple of months, I said, "Oh, this is a good time for me to really learn new songs." And when last year I used to play almost every night, so during the day I would practice a little bit, but you really didn't have the mind of really sit down and say, okay, every day I'm gonna work on something that I don't like about my playing. So that's what I did for the first couple of months of the pandemic, just work on some stuff that I didn't have time to do. But then, what I realized is that jazz is a music you play with people, and if you don't do it every day with people, it's different. Even if you practice 12 hours a day, it's not the same when you go play with people. So it was really hard to get back into playing with people, but I think slowly it's getting better. And also, you have time to do other stuff that before you couldn't do, like reading. Some part of me, when I came here, I speak English all the time, so I'm trying to read in Italian a little bit. I'm trying to read in English to improve my English and my Italian.
You're doing all right by me, man.
That's okay. Yeah, I know. But just do some exercise and try to be sane. And especially in a New York apartment, I live with my girlfriend, and she works all the time, so we have to divide the small apartment in place. But she's a sweetheart, and so we found a good combination. And it's just hard, for a musician. They took the best part of being an artist, that is going out and play with people and socialize with people and play for people. That's what I miss most. Just play a nice song for a nice couple, or for you, or that's the part I miss most. The connection you get with people, and what people gives you, and they make you play different. If you just play home, it's different.
We have to talk about Dr. Barry Harris.
Oh yeah, of course.
Dr. Barry Harris saw you guys overseas, you and your brother overseas, and he asked you over the years to be part of his overseas workshop. And Dr. Harris here in America is just, he's like the last, I did a piece on him called Last Stop to Monk, because he really is the last chain to Thelonious Monk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Barry's been a big part of my life. I met him when I was 9 years old in Switzerland. From the moment I saw him, I of course fell in love with his music and his personality. And he's my grandfather, you know, my
everybody's grandfather.
Everybody's grandfather. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Europe. You know, used to do 10 days workshop, a week workshop, and so we would spend all day with Barry. You know, a couple of times a year, and that was what made me sane and how I learned to play music. Because I remember I had the mini disc and I would record the whole week. And then I would have all the information to study for a year, you know, for 6 months, and then go back for a week, and he would show other stuff, you know, and I did it for so many, and I keep doing it. He's doing some virtual class now, and I'm part of it, and I like to. He always has something new. So he always says something that makes you a better musician, a better person, you know. It's amazing that he's still teaching and he still wants people to learn how to play jazz. You know, it's I admire that about him.
And we might have to add, I have to add that Dr. Harris is still teaching every week.
Yeah.
And he's at 90 years old, 90 years young, and he's still communicating the lectures of not only just the history, but the technique of this music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's the beauty of Barry, you know. But for me, the best part of Barry is when he plays, you know, because especially in the last 10 years that I've been living in New York, to see him playing at the Vanguard, go to his class, and best part of Barry is when he plays. He has such a beautiful touch, and everything he plays is so much feeling, you know, and it transmits you something that nobody else can, you know. When you hear certain musicians, they give you love. You can feel the love. You can feel so many different emotions, you know. And that's the beauty of Barry. When you hear Barry, you feel safe. You feel in a safe place, you know. That's what I like about him, you know.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace reporting live here at the Roxy here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Pasquale Grasso for his time. Make sure you go out and buy and support his latest solo works, which is now available on Sony Masterworks. He's now doing a tribute to Thelonious Monk as well as Bud Powell and Charlie Parker. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at the Roxy for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my videos both here on YouTube and Vimeo. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.